training talking about grief and self-care and burnout. We're glad to have Vershonna Luckey, the founder and executive director of Self-Healing Communities Collective of Michiana, joining us today. Vershonna, we're so grateful to have you here with us, and I'm going to start sharing my screen so we have some slides that you want to talk through. Welcome.
Yes. Well, as you're sharing that, I just want to say that the conversation today, I just want to ground everybody in that you're hearing from a person who had to make some decisions in life because of burnout, but I didn't have the language. I wasn't aware that that is what I was facing. And the information that I'll share will, dive right into how you can maybe avoid some of the choices I made around that.
Great. Well, go ahead. Hopefully everyone can see the first slide.
It's showing, it's not in presenter mode, but this is fine. I'm okay with it.
There we go.
All right. So you ready for me to dive in?
Yes.
Okay. So I love this image. It's just a great way to kind of ground ourselves in what burnout can sometimes feel like. It can be a lot of things happening around us. And sometimes we're not sure how to respond. So we hear, I'm fine, everything's fine. And you can, next slide. And so when we think about burnout or being stressed, I want you to take a second and look at these slides. And if you can just drop, if you're comfortable enough, drop in when you think about being stressed or when you think about having burnout, which one of these slides do you connect with most? As people are dropping into the chat, I will tell you that during the pandemic is when I first came across some of these memes to help express what all was going on. And number one was probably my favorite one to think about. I just wanted to respond with a reply in the email, okay, in this image. There's lots of different ones. The other one, number five, uh, crazy that my body can't tell the difference between answering a text message and being chased in the woods. And we're going to talk a lot more about that stress that body response. And so thank you all for um, just showing up in the chat. And one of the things that I want to express with this is that you can see the variety. I love that Jennifer wrote 1 and 5 because, at different points, we can be all of these. And it is a beautiful way to honor what's happening in our body. We can make ourselves laugh, but we're going to dive into like these can be funny, but they are an indication of so much more. Next slide. So just to ground us in self-healing communities, collective movement, we are a movement, not an organization. That is sometimes hard for people to fully gather, but please understand the intention, the reason why you're also going to get these slides, you can reach out for more information around the science of this, is because we exist to give things away. We want people to claim this. Our logo talks about being a meta leadership movement, meaning that everyone gets to claim it as their own. We need everybody to see themselves as a leader. And so our goal is to teach everyone to care for themselves and each other in ways that prioritize the nervous system. And when I first started learning about this, I was like, okay, I'm learning from neuroscientists and neuroscience students. And when people say the nervous system in that world, they have images that go through that come to mind. And I'm like, I don't know what a nervous system is. And so next slide. I always like to say, when you see another human, do you think about this? Do you think about all of the wonderful things that is going on inside of a human body? Next slide. Do you think about this? Do you think about when we have these organs that are responding oftentimes long before we realize it? And Dr. Nancy Michael is the director of neuroscience and behavior, major at the University of Notre Dame. And she always says, we have a lot of real estate that is about feelings and not thinking. We think we're thinking creatures, but there's so much more. My therapist said to me, think of it as having spidey senses. Like sometimes your body can let you know of something going on long before you can make sense of it, before you can think yourself through it. Our organs are wired to help us navigate the challenges of life. And you can see if we stay in this sympathetic response, that's a flight, freeze response, that prolonged stress can lead to poor health. And this is why this topic is so powerful to me. Taking out the time, most of the people on this call are protective factors for other people. You all are doing such amazing things. And each of those things that we're doing in life, they're stress doses. And so we have to incorporate some of the information I'm going to share today will be tools in your toolbox. I do a whole nother presentation about your toolbox. But one of the things I just want to stress is that awareness is a beautiful tool. A lot of times people want to say, okay, but what do I do? That was me through therapy probably for a year. Like, okay, but what do I do? And one of the times I was grieving and she was just like, grieve. I said, okay, I hear that, but what do I do? And so just want to encourage you that this presentation is a lot about awareness. And so again, when we talk about burnout, when we talk about stress, there's a lot happening to our organs. And when we think about the care of ourselves and one another, and stand on this slide a little longer because I just want you all to dive into how your beautiful body is wired to help you, to support you as you navigate so many things in life. Okay, next slide. So scientists like to study things in isolation. And I just wanted, again, this is the same image, sort of the same image, but it's pointing to the same thing that the previous two slides were pointing to, just to show us our bodies are doing so much. We say the phrase nervous system, but now you see how it gets broken down and how neuroscientists study it. And though it's broken down in part, it is constantly in communication all at one time. Next slide. And so back to that other image, and you can see how on this slide there's two. I have both of the last two images on one slide for this reason. Toxic stress leads to poor health outcomes. Sometimes I say we just drag our bodies through life, not honoring, and we didn't know, it's not like people were ignoring this. The science wasn't available. The reason why self-healing communities exist is because Dr. Michael is like, hey, neuroscience has answers to help us in our everyday life, but it's just in the academy. We want to put it in the hands of everyday people so that they know how to show up for themselves and for others. And so when you think about people that you know, maybe yourself, high blood pressure, digestive issues, all these things. I was sick all the time. It was like I used to work for the Robinson Community Learning Center, And I had a team member or a partner, and years later, she was like, you were sick all the time. You would show up, you would go, 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 and then you'll take a little bit of break, and you only take enough break just so you can come back again. And I did not know how to care for myself. And when I learned that stress can suppress our immune system, oh my goodness, I just learned that the vulnerability that comes to a person, that comes to us who don't know how to care for ourselves in such beautiful ways that neuroscience teaches us, we are compromised in so many ways. Next slide. And one of our team members did a beautiful presentation on, you hear a phrase quite often that talks about self-regulation. And we're working on a series of presentations that helps people understand that though we say that word, self-regulation, co-regulation, it makes you think that this is a simple thing. But there are so many things that go into regulation and what causes us to have the tools and the ability to self-regulate. And so she created this slide as part of her presentation on the neuroscience of some of the things I've already mentioned. And we presented this to think about yourself. What are some of the things on here that cause you to go into that pink side of that image that I showed? And so we had people look at this, and we were talking to youth workers. And then we said, okay, now think about the youth that you may be interacting with. In your case, what about the clients? What about the partners? What about the community members? This is just a small example of the things that can create us or cause us to have this stress response. Next slide. And so there's so many different types of breath. There's so much breath work. We are hoping to host in 2026 our second cohort of the Self-Healing Communities Collective Mind Body Medicine group. And one thing about mind body medicine is that it offers you so many techniques of how to incorporate breath, how to help you move from that stress response into the parasympathetic, that blue side. And this is one of our favorite tools. The front side of this card, many of you hopefully have it at your desk. If you don't, please reach out. We will share the full PDF with you. But the main thing is we have learned with neuroscience so many things that can help us have beautiful lives are free. It's free, y'all. And so this particular breath exercise, we were super intentional on the type of breath so that we can help people understand this type of breath helps you move from a sympathetic response, fight, flight, freeze, into the parasympathetic. And really simply, if you can begin to practice on a regular basis, you'll be surprised how many people, when we start doing this breath work and we use it in our team meetings, our board meetings on a regular basis, and how many people are like, man, I forget to breathe. It's one of the things that our body does automatically. So you don't really have to think, but you have to think about this breath work and really quickly let your breath in be shorter than your breath out. So we're just going to do a couple of breaths together. I'll do a count, okay? And when I first started learning this, again, I didn't know a lot about neuroscience. I was in my early 20s. I came across, I don't even know how, came across some CD at some used bookstore, and they had these breath exercises, and they told you to do it about 5 times. We recommend 3 times, but I say all the time, do it as long as it takes. You will start noticing your body. I can have this tension in my jaws, a light headache, and if I get just a couple of good breaths, because now my body, I've been practicing this enough that sometimes my body will take this deep breath, and I didn't even realize that I was moving too fast. Your body will start to help you. That's the most beautiful thing of these practices. So again, let's take in a breath for a count of 4, breath out for a count of 6. So breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, out, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more time. Breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, I got to tell y'all a little funny around this. I have some team members who are very fit, and they will do this count so slow. And when I first started doing this, I didn't even have the capacity to breathe in slowly. And then you have some that you have a hold at the top. And then you breathe out very slowly. It took a long time for my body to be able to do that. So if you find that breathing, taking in deep breaths are hard for you, it's okay. It is an indication that your body, your organs need to learn this rhythm, that there are some health benefits. You see on the right side of that card some of the health benefits, but just look at what happens in your body. What are you breathing in? Do some research on that. What are we actually breathing in? What are we actually exhaling? The body is amazing. Next slide. And this slide comes from a larger presentation we do around human connection. I just wanted this slide to be in here to let you know, when you take out the time to incorporate some of the tools I'm going to mention and hopefully answer some questions, when you take out the time to do this, it literally stops the body from going through its natural stress response. You'll see it says sympathetic nervous system activation. We have a safety cue in our environment that can be a person, a text message from somebody, a hug, a thought, an awareness. And then your body will release all of these good hormones, and it will stop that stress hormone from activating, and that parasympathetic system begins to activate. So again, lots of rich science behind this. Next slide. This is our favorite card to give out, along with the breath, I'll say that. But we have a suite of resources. I'm so happy Lily's on the call. We had the opportunity to do a beautiful retreat with her and their team, and we were able to launch 2 of our newest resources. Lily, we got more resources under brain care, self-care now. But it was so fantastic because the whole room exploded with this joy. Yes, the card, and we played the card. Ed and his team, we got to play the card game. Here's the thing I need you all to understand. I have been on a 4-year journey with this card. The order of how this is written is very intentional from a nervous system healing perspective. But we don't ask you to focus on the order. We ask you to focus on, what are you doing well? Part of our mission is to celebrate our collective strengths. And one of the things is that people don't know how to celebrate. And so you have to practice. And so I ask people to start with identifying, what do you feel like you're doing well? So that's what I'm going to ask you to do. And I want the people who are watching this later on to also think, what am I doing well? So I'm going to just give a pause for about 2 breaths and let you identify something. Now, let me also tell you, brain has a negative bias. We have an ability to quickly say, I'm not doing this well. I'm not doing that. And I'm saying, don't worry about that right now. There will be time for that. Let's focus on the thing that even if you say, I'm not doing any of these things well, find something you can put a half a star next to. Okay? So let's take a couple of breaths and identify the thing that you feel like you're doing well. So once you have it identified, drop it in the chat. So let us celebrate you. Identify the thing that you feel like you're doing well. I will say right now, I am resting up really well. And my friends, it took me 6 months to move out of the very unhealthy ways in which I do this. So someone wrote in the chat like how they're helping, doing the brain care, self-care, but I want you to identify one of these 6 tips. And the 6 tips are: rest up, listen to your body, nourish your body and brain. Well, nourish your brain, exercise your body and brain, find friends to foster resilience, practice gratitude. Next slide. The reason why this slide is in here is because later on, I want you to take a look at it. When you are practicing these 6 tips, my friends, look at the parts of your brain that is lighting up. Now, also realize, just like the body, the brain is not working in isolation. So one section getting goodness impacts the entire section. It impacts your entire nervous system. There's another workshop that we do that talks about stress and different things like that. Here's the thing I want you to understand. There are some things we can do that are preferences, like we like getting our nails done, we like getting our hair done. Those help, or taking baths or different things. Those help with metabolizing stress. A conversation for another day. This is about nervous system healing. So you want to get to the point that on a regular, all 6 of this, you're jamming in. And that's how we get to that nervous system healing. And that's how, when you talk about burnout, these are the things that are being impacted. We say these words, but I want you to understand the neurobiology around it. Okay? Next slide. I just want to say we need each other for us to be resilient, for us to navigate burnout, for us to navigate toxic stress. You can't do it in isolation. This is why Self-Healing Communities movement is intentional to create these gatherings you'll see at the library, or you see in partnership with churches, or in partnership with Carl. Thank you so much. We have to have these gathering spaces. We will be announcing something in 2026, which is our Self-Healing Communities Educators and Connector series, where we want people at their dinner tables, in the grocery stores, to understand the science underneath toxic stress, human connection, resilience. And so we will be offering that so that we can understand this one statement you have here at the bottom. The entire slide is beautiful, but I want you to hear this. Social support is a biological necessity, not an option. And you all are our community's social support. You are our community's protective factors. I do a whole presentation on protective factors across the state. You all are that. and you need protective factors. Okay? You are that, and you need to have it for yourself. Next slide. I love this slide. I will tell you, I put it in every presentation I can just because I love the image. We forget that we have a heart brain connection, that all of our organs are connected. And so by caring for ourselves and having others to lean on, we give our nervous system the connection and support it needs and expects. Our whole body is looking for connection. Next slide. And this is our last slide. So if you have questions, you can put it in the chat. Carl, I know, has some questions. And I just want you to understand from us, especially we have so many amazing city, I call y'all city officials. I know that you all just, you touch. I love what Mary said today. We have such a beautiful city, and we do. I have a lot of family, team members in the Detroit area, and I talk about all the things that are happening here. And it's just such a rich and beautiful place to live. Y'all, I tried to move away. The Lord was like, "You're not done here yet. You got to stay." And so I have loved how my life has blossomed in this beautiful way. But I want to read this out loud and ask you to take some breaths and look at the image, because that's what you're helping our city do, all of you. Every act of compassion, kindness, and grace extended to another person and yourself can help heal and protect your nervous system. Every positive act creates a healthy and resilient nervous system. Positive interactions and experiences are required to form a flourishing brain. So thank you so much for diving into this. Please ask questions. Thank you, Carl, again for the opportunity. And yeah, let's go for it.
This is great, Vershonna. I appreciate you explain not only the neuroscience behind stress, but giving us practical tools that we can apply for help to better take care of our brains and our bodies. A lot of us either are working with people who've experienced trauma or maybe have had trauma in our own lives. How does the history of trauma impact the difficulty and make it more challenging for people to do some of this self-care that you find through your work and research?
Oh, it makes it truly challenging. So if you're, and this is, even if you're successful in so many things, like sometimes I'll hear people say, I have all these degrees, even some of our neuroscience friends, this life application is not easy. And so I just want to honor that. Please, if you find it difficult, just be patient. I said it earlier today, when we go through grief, I don't know if that portion was recorded, so I'm just going to say it again. I remember I was in therapy and I was like, okay, so what do I do? And my therapist was like, grieve. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But what do I do? Like, give me a checklist. And that is why we also created the resources for all of us who want to do something. But I want to encourage you that awareness is enough. Awareness is doing something. It allows your body, that listening to your body, sometimes it takes time to get there. Sometimes to do the thing that you want to do to help, especially if you have family trauma, multi-generational trauma. So we do a lot of, all of our resources are actually called near P resources. And what's built into all of this, E in near stands for epigenetics. And people talk about epigenetics just from a negative perspective, but epigenetics is happening all the time. And so I want you to, sometimes when you've gone through trauma and you've gone through difficulty, do an inventory of your own life, your own history, and just say, wait a minute, I'm still here. Okay, well, let's see what we can do. And again, it is a difficult journey. It can be very, very hard, and this is why you do it in community.
That's very
Sometimes,
helpful.
yeah, sometimes when you don't know how, you need someone in community with you. And so please reach out if you have some deeper questions that you want to share or want to dive into.
Yeah, that's helpful for us for our own trauma and also thinking about the people we work with, help us have a better sense of understanding and compassion for the healing that other people are needing to go through also because of what they have experienced. What is the best way for people to get in touch with you, Vershonna, if they want to learn more or they want to support your work, email and website?
Okay, yes, and I'm so sorry I didn't add that slide at the end. I was like, let's get through this quickly. So the best way is to go to our website, and it is selfhealingmichiana.org. I surely hope I got that correct. And then we have an email address. I'll give you two emails. One is pretty simple. It's at Notre Dame. It's Luckey, VLUCKEY at nd.edu. And then also Self Healing Communities, all together, Self Healing Communities at gmail.com.
That's great. One of the other principles that we talk about with self care is boundaries and how important boundaries are to be able to say no and put limits on our time. I'm wondering if you could give us an example as we wrap up of how have you used boundaries in your life, established those for your self care and your own healing journey.
Ooh wee, long, long story, but I'm gonna say it real fast. One is you have to be aware that boundaries are not for other people. We often think boundaries are about the others or about the work or about all these other things. But boundaries are to keep yourself beholden to the thing that is important to you. So even in thinking about boundaries, you have to take out time to get to know you. People try to rush straight to boundaries, but they haven't truly honored what do they need? Who are they? So taking out that time is really beautiful. Also realize that when you often put in boundaries, people do make it about them. And so when I first started this boundary thing, there are some people who didn't like it. I had to be okay that they didn't like it. In those relationships, some of them did not continue, but I have been extremely fortunate that I've had a lot of beautiful relationships because of the boundaries. And this is necessary. The brain care and self care tips are some of the first places that you can start with boundaries. Like when I had to move into learning and living rest up, I had to put some boundaries on. Oh, I got to go to bed. Oh, I got to put this phone in a separate room. Oh, I'm going to have to start thinking about how I'm eating or how I'm moving because I'm a little too hyped up right now. I can't get the proper rest. So, boundaries, thank you. That's a great question. It has not been asked in these types of settings around burnout and stress in the way that you asked. And that question, in and of itself, is a gift. And I ask people to think about it for themselves. And so, yes, great question.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Vilshana, for this time to be able to share and to be able to give us only great tools and a better understanding of how we can better care for ourselves. Thanks, everyone, for watching.